special from Jenny Packard. You'd make a mother proud. Is this my special? I'm Jack the front loader, he whirred proudly. I can load and unload and carry lots of things. I can get you 2 chatterboxes off to the... It's my first job on the island, Jack called back. Soon, Thomas delivered Jack to the quarry. All the machines... Jack couldn't wait to join in. I'm Jack. Can I help? Byron the bulldozer was shoving rock and rubble with his giant blade. I'm Jack. Can I help? I'm Jack, he said cheerfully. Sorry. Welcome to the pack. And if you want to work, said Kelly, in charge. The foreman introduced Jack to his oiler. Yes, sir, replied Jack eagerly, and he raced off. I'm Jack. I'm here to help. Jack and Alfie were working hard and having wonderful fun. A huge dump truck roared by. So that's Max, said Jack. Thomas was right. He is trouble. Jack! cried Alfie. Just in time. Stop bullying, said Jack bravely. Thank you, Jack, said Alfie. I'll do it, cried Jack. Jack scooped a bucket full of rock. But he didn't stop. He was too eager to help. But it was too late. Oh no, he cried. Whoops, Jack sputtered. Miss Jenny was glad Jack wasn't hurt, but she was disappointed. I'm sorry, Miss Jenny, Jack said sadly. Sighed Miss Jenny. We'll see if you can do better tomorrow. After Miss Jenny returned to the yards, Jack was sad. Isabella could see he was unhappy. That made Jack feel just a bit better. Jack and Alfie were loading Max. Dust and dirt flew everywhere. Work had never been so much fun. Jack felt very proud. He had worked hard, been very good, and followed all the rules. But he was still worried Miss Jenny wouldn't let him stay. Ned, I'll move it, cried Jack. Before anyone could stop him, Jack raced under the bridge. He was about to fill his bucket when he remembered Miss Jenny's warning. Don't jump in where you don't belong. Oliver, he said, this is your job, not mine. Well done, Jack, called Kelly. Yes, well done, chimed Alfie and Isabella. Jack beamed proudly. Later, Ned was moving under the bridge. His I must be careful crane arm far enough. It knocked loose the important keystones. Thomas! Jack jumped in and lifted his front loader up against the bridge. He pushed with all his might. Thomas. Jack didn't let go. Finally, Thomas's driver backed Thomas to safety. Help! Jack couldn't hold the bridge any longer. I think so. Thomas brought Jack back to the yard. Jack was afraid Miss Jenny would be cross with him. After all, he had jumped in and damaged his arms. The pack can't have a front loader with bent. I can stay? Jack was so happy he couldn't think of anything to say, so he just revved his engine and bounced his bucket.
Jack owns up. Thomas's friends were excited. Jack couldn't wait to get to work. Hurry, Thomas, he called. Don't mind Jack, called Alfie. He's always in a hurry. Miss Jenny warned them all about the very busy site. So you must be... Jack was having fun too, but he wasn't being careful at all. Slow down. Not me, Jack shouted. Thomas could see Jack was being careful, but Jack did get into trouble. He backed into a stack of blistering buckets, said Jack. He looked around. No, but he didn't want to get sent back to the yard. So he filled his bucket full of gravel and drove away. Alfie pulled up just as Jack saw Ned driving slowly away. "Where's Ned going?" asked Jack. "He knocked over some roofing." Knew it was all his fault. What should he do? Alfie could see Jack was upset. "What's wrong?" he asked. But Jack didn't answer. He raced off without a word. "Wait!" Jack shouted. "Wait! Miss Jenny, Ned didn't break the slate. I did." And Jack told her what he had done. Miss Jenny was cross. "It was brave." "Send me back to the yard," said Jack sadly. And so she did. As Jack was being loaded on Thomas's low loader, he called to Ned. "I'm sorry you got blamed for my accident. I should have owned up earlier." "Good for you, Jack," Thomas called. "Good for you." All the way back to the yard, Jack felt good. Deep down in his pistons, he knew he'd done the right thing. Percy had arrived during the workman's break. "Me too," said Alfie. He didn't like being scared either. "Shh," said Jack. "Darkest part of the forest." "That was the best story yet," said Jack. "I hope I never meet the one-eyed truck," gulped Alfie. "Good work." Percy liked working with Alfie. They were having a wonderful time. "Stop that," boomed Jack. "Pick on someone your own size." "It's a one-eyed truck," yelped Monty. Monty and Max felt silly. They were a beautiful, especially Jack and Alfie were. They couldn't wait to see the lightning tree. "Why is it called the lightning tree?" asked Thomas. "It was struck by lightning," said Jack. "Compare it." "But how will we know which one it is?" asked Alfie. "You'll know," Kelly laughed. "It's the biggest tree in the forest. So be careful, all of you, and remember, safety first," Jack and Alfie called. Jack and Alfie made their way through the forest. "Look!" cried Jack. It looked like it would soon topple over. Jack and Alfie approached very slowly. They had remembered what Miss Jenny said about being careful. "You'll hit the tree!" shouted Jack. It was too late. "Going down!" shouted Jack. "Leave it!" cried Alfie. Called Jack. "Move aside, little fella," said Oliver. Oliver was too heavy. "Kelly!" shouted Jack. "We need more help!" His operator. Jack raced Thomas. Soon the prop trolley had been attached to Jack and he was on his... Jack went as fast as his wheels would carry. The workmen soon attached the props. The lightning tree was safe. Miss Jenny was pleased. Jack and Alfie were proud. Later, Thomas was taking Alfie and Jack back to Miss Jenny's. "Look!" cried Alfie. "You can see it from here," called Jack. And it was saved. And Nelson and Oliver made to clear Henry's tunnel. Sir Topham Hatt sent Thomas to take his friends to the soccer field. "We'll have to move the trees today," clattered Jack. Thomas knew his friend Buster was... At the soccer field, everyone was working very hard clearing up the fallen trees. Thomas, the work had gone very well. They were almost finished when Isabella arrived with the new goalpost. Then Miss Jenny went on. The wind was blowing so hard that Jack and his friends could hardly get their work done. "Look out!" cried Jack. "No," said Jack, "but you've demolished the shed." Finally, the work was finished, and Miss Jenny came to inspect the site. "Can I test it, Miss Jenny?" asked Buster. "I'm the fastest steamroller in. The foreman will give you the all clear." But Buster was trundling towards the finish. "Go, Buster!" cheered his friends. "No!" But it was too late. Buster chuffed and puffed across the finish line. When Max and Monty crossed the line, they were still arguing. "I came second," cried Max. "Bird snap." "You won, Buster," said Jack. "And I would." Had sent Thomas to help Jack and his friends at the construction site. "Roasting radiators, it's hot," panted Jack. "Out of the way, young'uns," teased Pat. "What makes you so important?" huffed Jack. "But I'm the most important, Patrick." But Alfie and Jack were curious. Jack couldn't wait to ask, "Is Patrick the most important?" asked Jack.
"Nonsense," said Byron. "Patrick can't pour his mush."
"Transport," boasted Nelson. "Without transport, there wouldn't be any construction. That makes me the most important." "I give up," clattered Jack. "They can't all be the most important," said Alfie. They were confused. Miss Jenny was cross when she heard the news. She said to Max and Monty, "We were only trying to show who's the most important," groaned Max. "You're all part of a team," said Miss Jenny. "Not even Patrick?" clattered Jack. "Hello, Thomas," rattled Jack. "I guess everyone likes demolition," said Thomas. At the workman's coffee break, Thomas could see that Alfie was unhappy. "I don't like being small," complained Alfie. Alfie thought about this for a moment. "Break's over," shouted Kelly. "Back to work." The cat and kittens were safe. "You may be small," said Kelly, "but you got a big heart." And Alfie was proud. And it was a gray, cloudy day on the island of Sodor. Percy was taking Alfie and Jack to Kronk Station. Jack and his friends were going to prepare the site for a new repair shed. But rain had made the site a muddy, mucky mess. "Mud can be dangerous." "Yes, Miss Jenny," they clattered. Jack and Alfie were having a wonderful time. Alfie liked mud. This was the muddiest mud he had ever seen.
Come.
"Watch out!" Too late. Max broke the water supply pipe. Water gushed everywhere. "I'll get him!" clattered Jack. "Come on, Byron!" Kelly whispered. Byron struggled and pulled and strained. At last, Byron pulled out, and Percy was glad his friend was safe. "Well done!" shouted Kelly. "Well done!" shouted everyone. That night at the yards, Miss Jenny had stern words for Max and Monty. "You'll be spending the next 3 days in your sheds," she said, "and you should be ashamed of yourselves. Thomas's friends were... The next morning, Thomas brought Sir Topham Hatt to the yards. "Dinosaur," said Jack. "Dairy barn." Jack sputtered and stopped. "I can't even bounce my bucket," he said. These machines were out of fuel. The site had never been so quiet. It worked. You've been really useful, Beam Miss Jenny.
I knew she'd do it.
Boasted Jack. Miss Jenny and her machines. They were building a new bandstand.
Thank you, Percy. Right on time.
Percy tried to shunt the freight cars into place, but the cars decided to be troublesome. All the freight cars were in line. Sir Topham Hatt bustled over to Alfie were very excited. The band started to play. It had been really useful, and so had Percy.